This week's Torah portion in Genesis 28:10 begins with these words from the namesake of the Jewish people, Jacob, whose name will soon become Israel. The Torah says, Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech Harana, which means, and Jacob left Beersheva in southern Israel, where 43 of us just were on our temple trip exactly 4 weeks ago. And Jacob left Beersheva and set out for Haran. 3,800 years after Jacob, on this Shabbat, this is how we'd say it in Hebrew. Vatetze bat Sheva Miriam bat Rachel Varon vatelech Memphisa. And Bess Bridget Woolner, bat Sheva Miriam, the daughter of Rachel and Ron of blessed memory, left Kansas City and ended up in Memphis, thank God. Our associate rabbi's namesake, Bathsheba, King David's favorite wife, became the mother of a great and wise leader of the Jewish people, Solomon, whose ancestress is actually named Ruthie. And Miriam, her middle name, was the great sister in the Torah of Moses and Aaron, the great sister which Bess both is and has in Lena. And how besheret that on this Shabbat, when we celebrate the Board of Trustees' decision to elevate Rabbi Woolner to the position of associate rabbi, this main character in the Torah, Jacob, marries Rachel, Bess's mom's Hebrew name. And just as Ruthie will be both her mommy and daddy's little girl, if you didn't know, Bess was her dad, Ron's pride and joy, Lena too. I'm told that Bess's great personality and quick wit and sense of humor came from her father. I wish I had known, Zichrono Livracha. So this father of the Jewish people in this week's Parsha, not Abraham, but Jacob Israel, wakes up from his sleep and exclaims, Achen yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. Surely God is present in this very place at this moment, and I did not know it until now. Isn't that the case with all our lives? I mean, sure, we all have free will, but we're not God's puppets. As another great Reform rabbi, Rabbi Salkin, writes in our Torah commentary, there's a script to this great theatrical production we call life. We did not entirely write it on our own. Sometimes things happen and we end up in the most unlikely places, whether near Beersheva for Jacob or in the wilderness of Memphis for rabbis and cantors and other Jews who end up at temple in a city we never expected to arrive at, myself included. We're not sure why we're here, but in certain places and at certain moments, whether in the hospital when our children were born, at the cemetery when loved ones leave this world, on a mundane Sunday morning in religious school, or a big holiday like Yom Kippur when the sanctuary is full, it hits us like Jacob this week, that we're all part of a larger faith family and a larger plan. Tonight, as we celebrate the beginning of religious school for the consecration class of 5780 with parents and grandparents and relatives who can already look back with amazement at these Jewish children who were not even a dream 6 years ago. Like Jacob's realization in the Torah, we feel awe and wonder that they are in our lives in this world and that they are the living Torahs who will extend the life of our synagogue and the Jewish people throughout their childhood. Much will change as they grow through the years. Did you hear the schools they go to? I couldn't believe it. Few I hadn't even heard of. That will change. Different schools, sports, interests. But hopefully this temple that is theirs and yours and all of ours will be a major Jewish anchor in their lives, a constant outside the homes where they sleep and dream like Jacob does. And hopefully this spiritual home will be a place Rabbi Bess Wollner has helped foster so naturally, a place of safety, acceptance, Jewish growth, social action, a place grounded in a life of mitzvah and Jewish values like kavod, dignity and respect, emet, honesty and truth, briut, health and wellness, tikkun olam, the repair of God's creation through tzedek, justice, and ahava, love for all people, since we are all created b'tselem Elohim in God's image. As our consequence through grade 12 deepen their knowledge of Hebrew, Israel, Judaism, tonight we celebrate not just that talit this amazing class made, but beyond any individual class, the big tent, the larger house that was here before any of us were born and will, thanks to clergy like Rabbi Wollner and all our clergy, be here for us. Whether we are 6 years old or 96, Lador Vador from generation to generation. Harav bat Sheva Miriam, bat Rachel Varon, Rabbi Bess, was recruited to Memphis as an assistant rabbi, the designation in Reformed Jewish circles for pulpit rabbis in the 900 synagogues in the Union for Reformed Judaism. Assistant rabbis not only lead services and preach, they officiate at weddings, all kinds of life cycle ceremonies, do counseling, teaching, anchor the bima with our cantor. But we got really lucky when we recruited Bess for 3 additional letters she earned. And I'm pleased to announce that beyond being pulpit rabbi, religious school director, Bess has earned 3 additional letters, RJE, Reform Jewish Educator. Prior to 1968, men and women serving as Jewish educators in synagogues like ours reflected diverse backgrounds. In December 1968, the then Union of American Hebrew Congregations and Central Conference of American Rabbis authorized a professional designation leading to a new title, Reform Jewish Educator. And it is granted by a commission comprised of representatives from the Association of Reformed Jewish Educators, the American Conference of Cantors, the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, the Central Conference of American Rabbis, the Union for Reformed Judaism. Relatively few rabbis earn the RJE title. Why? Because of the 3 requirements beyond being a rabbi, being ordained. These requirements are a minimum of 36 credits in educational administration granted by universities or colleges approved by the commission, an educational internship of 1 year in a Jewish setting supervised by an RJE commission-approved academic institution, plus 2 years as an educational supervisor in a reform or progressive communal Jewish setting in a post-academic appointment. Among Temple's 4 rabbis, including yours truly, Bess is currently the only clergy person who has earned the Reform Jewish Educator title. In addition to being a full-time pulpit rabbi, she has the skill set the RJE confers and has used it to run an entire religious school. The pipeline between early learning to bar mitzvah and high school depends on the big tent Bess holds with her needed talent, abilities, and lifelong connection to and feeling for the larger reform movement we're all family members of. This is the voice, my friends, the bulletin from the end of her first year. And before I close by quoting her column, look who the bar and bat mitzvah mazel tov wishes are for. Gavin Leonard, a 7th grader then at Houston Middle. Alex Levine Miller at Riverdale. David Hahn, it says here, who brought Jewish, Christian, Muslim students together to prepare care packages for the Syrian refugees who were landing in Memphis that year. Oh, and listen to this one. Alyssa Michelle Evans, a rising 8th grader at White Station Middle who will become bat mitzvah on May 21st. She participates in the New Music Hangouts with cantorial soloist Abby Strauss, loves Henry S. Jacobs Camp, where she has been attending every summer since the first grade. My dear friends, from the first grade to the 11th grade, where this Alyssa is now a junior at Cordova High, and like all these kids being consecrated tonight, with Temple as the constant, Rabbi Bess among the anchors, in every facet of Temple life, including succeeding Rabbi Katie Bowman as the lead teacher for our seniors in high school. What I love about this particular column by Bess, and I will close, is that while off the bema and life cycle ceremony track, she directs the Wendy and Avron Fogelman Religious School K through 7. In this column, before she and Rabbi Simons married, before she had a child, she didn't write about her area of specialty in this May issue. Instead of writing about her main responsibility that she grew into, taking over the religious school, K through 7, she writes, "There's no greater blessing to any Jewish community than raising our children through all their years and sending them off into the world to spread goodness. Temple is the place where we find strength during hard times while also celebrating each other's joys." Then she continues, "So May is the month to celebrate what we have built together as Temple Israelites for these children throughout their lives, a genuine community, not just when they're young, but at confirmation and graduation." Rabbi Bess, on behalf of your colleagues and coworkers, thank you for being the total package. You know how to lead a faculty. You know how to inspire social justice. You are a camp unit head, experiential leader, and you can even song lead. You've shined on this bema with members and guests who are still talking about your Yom Kippur sermon months ago, about moving from darkness to light by taking a cheshbon, an accounting of the positive good within us, instead of just beating ourselves up on Yom Kippur. From the couples you have counseled and married, some who are here tonight, babies you have named, to the families, including children you have laid to rest. Thank God for the total coincidence that Temple needed a great pulpit rabbi and congregational rabbi like you in 2015, the year you were ordained. Thank God you ended up here like Jacob, who wanders a lot in the Torah. You've moved from the Midwest to LA to the South, and we, your clergy team, Temple members, Memphis, are the beneficiaries of you, Jeremy, and Ruthie being here. What a difference you've made, with so much more still to come. As tonight's children you've led to the bema remind us, and as Cantor Abby said, of the glorious future that lies ahead for our synagogue and for the Jewish people. May God continue to keep you strong, and may you always stay well. And let us all say,
Amen.